He takes the girls to school here, but he's in Philadelphia, and yeah, yesterday didn't go well. Heck, the last few series haven't gone well for the Giants. They lose 10-4 yesterday, but I guess there's some positivity because we get to finally see Kyle Harrison. We'll ignore last night's game. Well, we'll bring it up at some point. But, hey, it's Kyle Harrison Day. Giants fans finally get to see what this prize prospect is all about, Flemming. Good morning to you.
Yeah, well, we've been hearing about him for so long. Good morning. He just turned 22, so it's not like for Kyle this has been some slow rise through the system. It's been a pretty meteoric one, considering the kid was pitching at De La Salle a few years ago. But I'm excited to watch him. It's probably not going to be perfect. This is a really tough place to just drop a kid in the middle of an intense pennant race in this ballpark against this lineup. But you know what? In some ways, that's even more perfect. Like, hey, it's the big leagues. There are no soft spots for you. So I think that's kind of the theme for Kyle. Let's see what he can do. He's a super easy kid to root for. I think Giants fans are going to love this guy, no matter how long it takes him to get comfortable at this level. Really exciting to see him pitch tonight.
Yeah, like Lincecum making his debut against the Phillies, although Lincecum made his at Oracle Park on a Sunday night game against Ryan Howard and J-Roll and Utley and all those guys here. Going back to the Atlanta series real quick, Fleb, I thought they were competitive in that one. Going into it, like, boy, Atlanta, you look at that lineup with Olsen and Acuna Jr. and their pitching. It was like, boy, this is going to be a rout here. But I thought the Giants held their own the last two games in that series. Trying to look at a glass half full here. Saturday night should have won the game. They bounced back Sunday. They win it in the ninth inning. Very competitive series here as we see the Braves again next weekend here in the Bay Area.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they should have won 2 out of 3 on the road against the team that is unquestionably right now the most powerful force in the game. Like, that should be really encouraging for the Giants. As tough as the last 3-4 weeks have been to watch with this team, they went into Atlanta and went toe-to-toe with the Braves. Now, Spencer Strider kind of overpowered them in game 1, but they should have won those last 2 games, and they won one of them, but they should have won both. So I took a lot of positives, actually. I mean, to me, watching the Giants those last 2 days in Atlanta, that was watching the team that we'd mostly seen this year. Now, they still are having these incredible problems in the most key situations. They're just having about the worst at-bats you could possibly imagine with the bases loaded or second and third, nobody out. It's like they just it's really hard to explain why those situations right now are bringing about the worst in this team. But other than that, I thought it looked like the Giants we've watched most of the year. Now, last night, they came out swinging. I thought, okay, here we go. We built some momentum from Atlanta. And they let Aaron Nola off the hook, and he's really good. And then they just played a really sloppy game after that. So got to play a lot better tonight. But I think every Giants fan should be encouraged by the way that Atlanta series went.
Yeah, I mean, the defense, obviously Bailey, they win the game on Sunday, but Bailey throwing down with 2 outs, runner going second to third, throwing it down the line like Little League type stuff. Just eat the ball in that situation, He's already in scoring position, and just let's get the guy at the plate. But very frustrating. I'm looking at Wade Meche.
Just one quick comment on that, because I agree with you. You should just hold the ball.
Yeah, eat it.
You got Camilo Doval on the mound.
Exactly.
But when you praise a guy as much for changing the game with his arm, you want him to be confident, and you want him even in the games, against Arizona, where you're picking off a guy for the final out of the game and throwing out a great base stealer to help seal a win. Sometimes you're going to have to live with what happened last night, because you don't want to take that away from Patrick. So I agree with you, but I also don't want to be too hard on him for that.
No doubt.
Because I think you want him to be where he gives this team so much value is being really aggressive.
No, I think we both agree on that one. And then just the pressure on the base pass that running has added to the game this year with guys like Ronald Acuna coming up on 60-something steals. Like, that puts pressure on defenses and pitchers to throw strikes. So, I love the rule changes. But I'm looking at Wade Meckler, and it's really great that he got called up as fast as he did. The poor guy has been struggling. And then bases loaded last night, he hits an absolute rocket to first base for a double play. I mean, he's just getting no luck. That ball bouncing off the wall. Poor guy. I feel for him right now.
I do too. And look, it's a combination of a couple things. I mean, I think obviously this is going to be a tough adjustment for him. And the Giants were pretty ambitious in promoting him. And I don't blame them if there's one skill and they're having a hard time in the outfield and Yastrzemski can't get healthy and they're looking for a left-handed hitter there, and Wade just has had this incredible minor league system. And if there's one skill you kind of count on, okay, plate discipline, understanding the strike zone, swinging at the right pitches, you kind of figure, okay, that's going to translate even if everything else is overwhelming for him. But even that is tough for him right now. So it's a combination of, it could be that he just got here too fast and he needs a little more adjustment period because everything's moving fast for him. I do believe Wade Meckler can be a good big league player. I mean, it's so early. And that at-bat you're talking about is part of that was a great at-bat, not just a good one. That was awesome. Like, he fell behind 0-2. He worked it full. You hit a rocket in a spot where you're trying to rally and win a game on a huge stage. Like, for a kid who was playing against Stanford last year, that's pretty dang impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I give him credit for that, but yeah, it's kind of snowballing on him. And I wouldn't be shocked if today the Giants need 2 spots. It certainly wouldn't be shocking if Wade is one of those. Although, the Giants have a lot of faith in him. He's a tough-minded kid, so I don't think that's a guarantee.
Yeah, the Giants have just made a trade, Flynn, while you've been on the airwaves here. Giants have acquired outfielder first baseman Trenton Brook from the Oakland Athletics in exchange for pitcher Sean Newcomb. We have our first player-for-player trade between the two teams in a very long time. That's from our friend Jeff Young, who covers the Giants for Fansided at Round the Foghorn. So you get an A's, Giants. Maybe we'll see Trenton Brook. Who knows? Get to know him, Flood. Get to know him. Go ahead and do the Scotty report right now.
Not to interrupt you, but part of it is right now the Giants are having a hard time fielding a team in AAA.
No doubt.
Like, there have been so much churn and injuries and call-ups and taxi squad that didn't I see that a pitcher played first base the other night for the River Cats and hit a double? Yeah. Which I'm like, I want to meet that guy. Hadn't taken batting practice as a pro, and they throw him in the lineup and he hits a double. That's pretty cool. But anyway, part of that's probably just to try to plug a hole.
We made some hay last week because we read Greg Johnson having a Q&A with Susan Slusser, talking about Farhan, and Buster Posey's moving back full-time to the Bay Area. We know he has some stake in the Giants ownership group, but I wondered aloud whether or not they're grooming him to be a manager. But I'm not going to ask you about that, Flem. I want to ask you, what do you think Posey will be doing with the Giants within the next 5 years? Like, what's his end goal? You know Buster pretty well. What's his motives? What's his goal? What does he want to do with this organization?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's no doubt. I don't think it's a secret at all. Buster, I don't think management, I think he's happy doing what he's doing right now. I mean, I think he wants to be an active part of the ownership group. I think he wants a say in how the entire operation is run. He wants to be in those meetings. He's really, really engaged in, probably more so than you would anticipate, on the business side, the entertainment side, as much as the actual sort of picking players and management of the roster side. I think Buster is really motivated to make that a big part of his future. I don't think that's the because he could do that from Georgia. I think mostly he's coming back because they miss the Bay Area. They wanted to live in Northern California, which so do I. So I understand that from Buster, but I think Buster is not going to be some sort of passive part of the Giants organization. He intends to be a very vocal, in his own way, but a very participatory part of the franchise. He really wants it. He does not want to just throw some money in and sit back and go to a couple games. That's not what he wants to do.
Well, I find that intriguing because just bear with me here, Dave, okay? So, Buster's a smart guy. I'm sure he uses a ton of advanced analytics and did when he prepared for all of his pitchers. That's I expect that from a Hall of Fame catcher. That's why the guy was so smart and so brilliant. But, there's also baseball instincts and understanding, the human element of the game. For example, Luis Matos hits a home run the other day. He goes 2 for 5. And then he's on the bench yesterday. And look, I get it. Wade Meckler, you want to give him an opportunity, this and that. The guy just hit a home run the other day. And he's first time getting called back up. That cannot jive well with Buster's instincts. Like, I would love to sit down and have just a baseball conversation with Buster Posey, and in terms of how this team is being run on a day-to-day basis, because I don't think that those things are congruent.
Yeah, it's a hard question to answer without talking to Buster about it specifically.
Can you see my frustration?
Yeah, I can, and I think Buster probably shares some of that. Look, the model that the Giants are running, which is not, in my opinion, now I guess I don't know for sure, but I don't think this is what the Giants intend to be the permanent way that this franchise is run. But I think their feeling has been over these last few years is until we land Judge, until we land a superstar anchor to our team, until we develop Luciano and Matos and Kyle Harrison and have those anchor players, until we get to that point, what's the way we can win the most games? And so I think they are committed in the short term to kind of what you're talking about. And so I think, is there probably some frustration about things like what you're asking? Yeah, I think there probably is. I think there is, even for the players and the coaches and the manager who's making those decisions. I think that the ideal is not being met right now, but I think they are trying hard to just, it's not, I don't think I'm being overly harsh to say, look at the Giants roster versus some of these other rosters and say they got to try to find these advantages. But do fans want to hear that long term? Do you want to how can we win on the margins? Is that why you're a baseball fan? I don't think it is.
No,
I don't think that's not the Giants' goal, and it shouldn't be the Giants' goal for that to be the long range plan. For now, though, that's what they're trying. The Phillies have all these, just specifically on what you're talking about. Nola has big splits. Their relievers have big splits. I mean, I think the Giants are just purely looking at the numbers, saying what's on. If you just played the odds for one game, how would you set your lineup? And that's how they're doing it.
Interesting stuff there, Flem. Interesting stuff there. We'll talk to you next week. I'm going out Friday night to go see the Braves, but I want to see this lineup. I have to. Acuna. Hopefully Albies is back by then. I think he's going to come off the IL. Not good news for the Giants.
Hopefully he's back by then. Hopefully he's back on Monday after he's down. Stop.
Not good news for the Giants, but for selfish reasons, I want to see some of the best
forget selfish reasons. Let's take one for the team. You can see how the album next year.
Oh, tough stretch for the Giants. We'll see Kyle Harrison today. A lot of people are excited about him. We'll be tapped in on him, of course, and see if the Giants can salvage these two games and make it an even road trip here. Tough road trip out in Atlanta and Philadelphia. They got rolled yesterday, but Kyle Harrison Day. We cannot wait for that. That'll be a lot of fun there. And Flem, by the way, again, we keep saying this, but you and Javi, man, Javi's gotten so much better in that booth. I really enjoy it. You don't have to comment on it, but Javi's legit.
Hunter
Flem.
making fun of the guy behind the plate last night was pretty good.
That was good, too.
The Philly guy, because us in Philadelphia.
You got to give me a little credit. You do have to give me a little credit for. I can't remember the sequence of it, but I said, "What are you doing?" And then the guy stood up, and our microphone picked him. Saying, "What are you doing?"
No doubt.
It was great.
No, you get a lot of credit for that. You get a lot of credit.
And
You're throwing them alley-oops, too. You're throwing them alley-oops. You're setting them up for success. So you guys are having fun there in the booth. It's been a joy to listen to.
Thank you for saying that. Thank God for that guy in the ninth inning. Gave me something.
We'll talk next week,
See you, buddy.
brother.
Okay, talk to you soon. All right.